Welcome to We're Not the Same. We're so excited to finally be kicking off this pet project that we've had on our hearts for so long. And we're super excited to dive into a lot of topics today. We want to talk about New Year's resolutions, changing your mindset on things, and
waking up,
the matrix, escaping the matrix, coming to Jesus, and a lot more. So buckle up, and here we go. Well, welcome everybody to We're Not the Same, our first podcast episode here. I'm Katie, and this is Brian.
Hey, guys.
And probably anyone listening to this first episode knows who we are.
That's true. Thank you, family and friends, for listening to our first podcast. We, much like you, have our New Year's resolutions of trying new things. But to be fair, we had this in the works for a long time.
Yeah, this started in 2022, but we're finally here. So
here to stay.
That's right.
Consistency. What are we talking about that?
We'll go with that. So we wanted to kind of explain the background on the name a little bit in this first episode, and then talk a little bit New Year's resolution-y kind of stuff.
Way to start off the year.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we haven't really wanted to start a podcast, but we've talked about starting a podcast for a long time now. Just a lot of the conversations that we get into, and we'll say, oh, this should be a podcast episode, because we both are avid podcast listeners. And I actually now work for the social media manager for a podcast.
What?
So
that's super cool.
Only the podcast listeners know this secret.
That's right.
I have a job now.
Stay-at-home mom gone back to work.
Yeah.
What, like maximum 5 hours a week?
Yeah.
Hey, that's something.
I'll take it. So anywho, I'm getting hot already with this lights and everything.
Hey, studio production. You gotta.
Oh, well, most people are probably not going to watch on YouTube. So yeah, we are going to be recording all these podcasts on video and audio. So you can either listen on podcasts or you can watch on YouTube. We've got our little setup here, but nothing formal. We're going to look how we look, because we're doing this after the kids are down to bed.
It's the only way we roll.
Yep. So We're Not the Same. How do we come up with that name?
A lot's changed for us over the past several years. We have changed a lot. I think with everything, I feel like in the past 2.5 years, it's really been exponential growth. We'll use some math terms to show how much we've grown. We're both industrial engineers by background, so we have some math in us. But anyway, over the past 3 years, we've experienced a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and a lot of transformations. And honestly, I think at the foundation of it all, it comes back to growing a lot in our faith and God having a plan for us and believing in that. And I think it took us a while to get there. And it was hard during the hard times, but we've kind of come out of it, and we're looking forward to the future. So, I mean, some of those things, the lowest of the lows, Katie lost her dad in 2019. I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer in 2020. Yeah. And then the highs of the highs, we had our second daughter, Georgia, was born in 2020. I got to work from home for 2 years because of COVID. I guess that's another big low, was COVID and all that. And then certainly a huge high coming out of all of that is finding a new group of folks who have similar, like-minded to us and more health conscious and a real health plan. I feel like everybody, I want to be more healthy, but I feel like we're finally on a real journey. We know what direction we want to go in, and that's a lot about what we want to talk about on the show. So,
yeah. So when we were thinking about names, in our story and what we want to share, one of our favorite songs of the moment is called I Thank God. And one of the lines in the song is forever free, I'm not the same. And that just felt very fitting for us. So we came up with We're Not the Same, since there's two of us here. And we like that through our name ideation process.
Yeah, for like their little music at the beginning, that's kind of a similar style to the song.
So, one of the things that we wanted to talk about today is change and the process of changing, or you'll hear a lot of people say, like, waking up and kind of opening your eyes, or all these phrases mean the same thing, basically changing the way that you view the world, the way that you think of things, which is what certainly has happened to us. We feel,
We have awoken.
yeah, like we just see things so differently now. It's so crazy. Even just watching shows on Netflix or like seeing commercials on TV, you kind of, it's like the Matrix. Like you kind of just
Red pilled,
see
100%.
things totally differently. So we have had people come into our lives, actually, quite a few, I feel like, unfortunately, but also fortunately, um, who have who are going through things like cancer or just other health things. And I feel like people look to us with as people who, have been down the road, and they see that we're kind of on the other side. Not that there is another side, but just we kind of are surviving. So, anyways, one of the things that with these people coming to us, you can't just jump right down their throats with some of the things that we now know to be true, or things we believe to be true. If somebody just gets diagnosed with cancer, you can't just be like, don't do chemo, don't do surgery, like
Don't listen to the doctors.
yeah, don't listen to the doctors. um so we've been talking about, like, how do you get people to wake up before the tragedy, because it's like tragedy wakes people up. So, like, recently we knew someone who went through cancer and surgery and treatment and all this stuff, and now they're kind of like seeing the light of like what really matters in life. And I think that is like what can springboard you into waking up, or whatever you want to call it. So, how do you get there before?
Yeah.
Like, you obviously went through your surgery, having a vital organ removed, and now have to take a pharmaceutical for the rest of your life, which is definitely not what we would do now if we, could do it all over again. So, but how do you get there? How do you know? How do you know beforehand?
Yeah, how do you get there? I think that's what we're going to unpack a little bit. I mean, it all comes back to perspective. I mean, even it, yeah, it's all comes to perspective. Like, even when I was just talking to my dad the other day about, it was my birthday recently, and you know, get always a text or a call saying, it was a great day, and we love you so much, and looking back, it's fun, and I never really understood that until now we're parents, and like a birthday is so much, yeah, for the person who was born, but really for the parents to look back and see and think about those times. And but you don't have that perspective until after you have kids. So same thing. It's like perspective gives you so much. So
Yeah, hindsight is 2020.
yeah,
So I think that so something I recently had heard on a podcast was that there are actually, of course, there are people who like study change and psychology and all this stuff. And so that there's like different steps and stages of change and different things you have to go through in order to change. And so I haven't gone down that whole rabbit hole fully, but I think, to me, what I think the first step to change is having a willingness to change.
yeah, you got to be willing to change in order. If you're not forced into it via some sort of tragedy, then you've got to make the conscious decision that you want to change.
And I feel like even being forced into it, in a sense, I mean, there's plenty of people who go through all kinds of things and they never like change their worldview or perspective. So I feel like you still have to be willing. I mean, it's like the mental gymnastics to overcome some of these things that you're just told your whole life and believed to be true, and then to find out that they're actually false. And I know we're kind of being vague about specific things, but that's just because there's so many things, just like literally everything, from
Yeah.
the fact that half the food in the grocery store is killing us all, to I don't know what else. everything. Just
Everything.
everything. The government's out to get you.
Yeah.
Hate to tell you. Sorry. So it's almost like you have to give yourself permission, like verbally out loud. No, you don't have to say it in the mirror or anything, but just kind of tell yourself, like, it's okay to change the way that you once viewed things.
I think it's good to say out loud. There's
Yeah,
so much
you
power
can say it.
there's so much
There
power.
is.
Like say right now if you're in your car, like I'm willing to change. Like I want to change. I'm open to change. You know, I'm open to learning more and taking responsibility for my own health or finances or whatever it is. Like you gotta commit to taking responsibility for it.
It's like AA. Like
Yes,
the first
exactly.
step is admitting you have a problem.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. That's what I've always heard. I don't know anything about AA.
Other
I
than
don't drink alcohol at all.
other than that, I heard recently, maybe it was on a podcast, that like it's the only proven, like scientifically proven, like method for people to like overcome anything. Like
Oh yeah, we must have
that.
listened to that together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to those steps are actually proven. Obviously part of that is like admitting you have a problem and then having a group of people, which is so critical. And part of what we're going to talk about today is like one of our mantras or things that we want to do in 23 is build a community. And it's been so hard to like find people, but I feel like we've just recently had that breakthrough over the past few months of starting to build that community of like-minded people or people who are there to help you grow and change and see what the future can be like. I think a lot of people talk about like finding mentors and that's how you really grow. And like, that's true. But it's so hard to do, it feels like. So you got to like find those niches.
Well,
and
it's
stuff
so hard to
get into
do
it.
when you have kind of like a niche worldview.
True.
Like it's hard to do because we're in the minority of people who think the way that we think.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Luckily,
And
God's blessed us with, some people around us that are actually physically in Orlando. We know a lot of people on the internet, or I do. I have a lot of internet friends.
that's right.
that think the way I do, but it's, you can only foster a relationship so much through Instagram. At some point, you have to be in person. I was just had a play date at the park with a friend who definitely, I feel like God put us in each other's lives. And we were talking about how like it's so nice to just have somebody to talk to. Like we made the kids stay at the park for 2.5 hours. No, they were having a
They
blast.
love you.
But it's just like so nice. So if you got to find your tribe, it's hard. I mean, I've lost a lot of friends, and therefore you have too, because we kind of have a lot of mutual friends.
Yep.
Lost a lot of relationships through the process of coming out with my tinfoil hat.
Yeah, seriously.
But I mean, it's worth it to find your tribe. Like there's nothing more important than the people in your lives. So
yeah, and that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this too, is to kind of open up our community and for us find others, but also to help you find people who might be, thinking the way you're thinking, or if you have questions, like to be here to lean on and like honestly see the other side from what the big media and everybody else wants you to see. Like we're here to talk about those things that they don't necessarily want everybody talking about. I mean, from the foundation of God and Christ as our savior and all of that through health and seed oils and a whole rabbit hole of different things that we will be talking about. But
flat shoes,
yeah, getting outside, grounding,
frequencies, vibrations.
Yeah, and if we sound crazy, like we probably would have sounded crazy. Yeah, stick around. We would have sounded crazy to us too, even a year ago. A year and a half ago. Maybe it's been longer than a year. Like maybe 2 years ago. Maybe before COVID.
Definitely 2 years ago. Even like since you had your surgery and stuff, which is coming up on 2 years. So
true. Just stick around.
So this kind of ties into New Year's resolutions, because what is a New Year's resolution? You're resolving to change something in your life for the better. That's what you think in January. but how long does it stick around? Most people, I don't know the exact statistics, but I've seen a few over the last couple weeks about, like 8% of people keep their resolution past January. I mean, it's dismal. It's very dismal. So, another thing, if you want to make a drastic or lasting change in your life, is that you have to have a why.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your why? What's our why?
Well, our why at least started out with health, obviously, from everything we went through, and then learning that the food we eat, the air we breathe, the water we drink, it can all be contributing negatively. If you're doing nothing, like if you're just going on with life as normal, then all of that is like harming your health. I feel like unless you're actively pursuing health in this day and age, in the world the way that it is today, if you're just doing nothing, your health is declining.
Yes.
You have to be like fighting to even stay. And if you want to improve, I mean, it's an uphill battle for sure to get there. And so that's our why. Like we already had 2 bouts of cancer within a year of each other. So I don't
Yep.
want to go down that road again with anybody that I love.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just all that and just finding that. I feel like once, and it feels like a snowball effect. Like once you start and like really commit to it and like start doing like, if there's anything to take away, it's like actually look into things. Like,
Yeah, like
and
not
not just like your Google search. Like,
right.
get a
It's so
browser that's
hard.
not like plugged into big media and like DuckDuckGo and like,
Which even they are falling fast. We got to find a new one.
yeah, well, yeah, just read more than just the top 3 headlines. Like,
Yeah.
go deep. Like, there are
Go
things, real facts, real information, and like start waking up to the fact that unfortunately, as we often hear, money is a huge portion of power. Money and power play such a huge role in this world, unfortunately. And the whole follow the money is more true than ever. You know, do companies and things really want you to be healthy? No.
not the big ones. Like
Not the big
obviously
one. Yeah.
there's small businesses that are trying to combat that. We're not talking about them. We're talking about, there's like 4 main groups that run the world.
Yeah.
They don't care about you. So
They care about their money.
they want their money, they want their power. I think now I feel like our why has shifted to obviously our faith and just trusting God with our life and kind of just praying all the time every day for him to just guide us according to his will. And we're like just along for the ride trying to do our best. So
Yeah. Well, yeah. Rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, pray constantly. Romans 12. I'm part of a discipleship group. That's something that changed this year too, with the faith and like Bible memorization, verse memorization and stuff. And it is crazy how many times it comes up that there's stuff that's applicable in the Bible to your life.
oh my gosh,
Shocker.
that is crazy.
But yeah, 100%. Like I think we've just shifted our whole focus now to trusting in God and being prayer and the Bible more into our lives. And that is what's the most important is following God and putting him first. And we can save it for another conversation, but I think we've struggled with in the past, or at least I know how I have, of you hear like put God first, but like, how do you do that about family and your wife and all that? And I just never really understood that until, even recently, that if you actually truly put God first, all of those other things get pulled up with it. And it's like, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Shocker. But it takes time and like experiences and just dedication to actually want to change.
And we were raised Catholic, but obviously have been Christians our entire lives. So I feel like we're still new to the faith though, in some ways, just because we are learning a lot of things that we didn't know before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
so just basically, if you're a Christian and you feel like you still don't have all the answers, like just dive into your faith and
There's so much to learn.
Just open your Bible. Like literally just, that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
We are truly, it talks about there like in the Bible about being infants to faith and all of that. And I feel like we're like fetuses to faith, like embryos to faith. Like there's like so much to learn and like dive into and just soak in. And it is so inspiring and powerful. We are certainly not experts, but we're on the journey and we're trying to grow with others and stuff too. So it's very exciting. And it's cool to be intentional about that in our life, like, and trying to be, for me, trying to be more of a spiritual leader of the family, and what does that look like for our girls and all of us. And it's hard, but it's super rewarding, and we can save that for another topic. But
that's another change
that's a whole nother change.
We've gone through that. Like I said, we've been Christians our entire lives, but we had to like allow ourselves to take personal responsibility, which is what people hate in this world today, and say like, humble ourselves. Like we know nothing. That's pretty much what it comes down to with every topic, is just humbling yourself to realize that you know nothing and start from there and build your knowledge from the ground up. And you'll be so much better off if you do that. But what I was going to say too is another change with growing in our faith too is growing in the realization that there is evil in this world. And as powerful as God is, there's also power on the other side. Obviously not equal to God, but just the fact, I don't know, I feel like I just never really thought about it.
We're in the, Yep.
And people think like, oh, evil, you see something and say, oh, that's so evil. But the true evil is hidden. It's not in plain sight. Like the devil is not going to just come and say, I'm the devil, worship me, not God. No, he's subtle. He's a sneaky snake. He comes in and puts thoughts in your head and puts things into your life that are there to turn you away from God and towards him. And so even I think about that all the time when I see, some crazy new laws or something that's being put into place. And of course they make it sound good, and then if you say it's bad, people say, well, no, it's good. Like it's not for that reason that you're saying, it's actually to help people. It's like, well, they're not going to come out and say that it's bad, because then everybody would say, no, don't do that. That's bad. They're going to try to trick you. So I think that has been a huge mindset shift that has helped us to just accept new viewpoints too, is like realizing that there is evil in the world and it's hidden. It's not blatant. Like, duh, It's so obvious now to say that, but you just don't think about that.
You don't. Yeah. And this road is not easy. Like it's hard to wake up to all this, and it's scary. And that's why I think you dive deeper into the faith, because that's all there is. Like against all this evil, against all this craziness, that ignorance is bliss is certainly a true statement.
Ignorance is bliss if this world is all there is.
Yes, exactly. Hey, that's good. I like that tagline.
Put that on a t-shirt.
You got to be willing to change and recognize that it's not easy. But anything worth having,
nothing worth having comes easy.
Yeah, it's true.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was thinking about this. People always want to add to their lives with their New Year's resolutions. Like work out, eat healthy, clean the house more, read more. It's always more. And so I always do a word of the year. I feel like I need like a drum roll or something for my word of the year. That was terrible.
That was I play clarinet, not percussion.
We'll put a sound bite over that, like a sound effect. So my word of the year that I came up with this year, Brian doesn't know this. Or do you?
I think I do know this.
Oh, I did tell you?
Yeah. We do communicate off the podcast.
So my word for 2023 is less. So we have talked a lot about trying to become more minimalist, which if you could look at what's behind the camera right now, you would not believe, or you'd say we have a long way to go. It's not just less stuff. I think that's where I first thought of it, is like less stuff, but also just less things, like less commitments of doing things, less rushing, less everything. Just slowing down, a slower pace of life. I feel like we kind of got a taste of a slower pace of life during COVID. So I feel like we kind of 2022 was like, oh my gosh, like we're going out, we're doing stuff again, we're going all the time, go, 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 do, like striving for things and all that. And it just, I went through a major season of burnout during 2022. And my hope for this year is that we can kind of get back to a slower pace of life, or even if we still do a lot of things, just having it more planned out, more intentional, not just like, I feel like for so much of last year, we'd be like, wake up, like, what are we going to do? Rush, rush, rush to get ready, go do something, like rush to get home, rush to do nap time, rush, rush, rush around all the time.
Yeah.
And already this year, we've been good at just having more like plans, planning ahead, which I feel like it's kind of a damage that we we were damaged through our experiences, or at least I was, of like, I didn't want to plan ahead. I didn't want to think about the future. Like, that was scary because for so long, I mean, our whole lives we've been planners.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden our plans just kept getting derailed, like left and right in major ways. And so I kind of went into like, I'm never planning for anything ever again. It's like a self-defense mechanism.
Yep.
So now I feel like I've done so much work last year of healing and growing and changing and all that. And now I'm at the point where I don't know what the future holds, but I know who holds the future. So
yeah, I was just thinking about this as you were saying that, just like, I think we're coming more at peace with like, he has a plan for us, and like, it's just, is it our time to do what, what we had a thought was our plan or whatever, like, just, I guess, letting go of it a little bit more and just like chugging ahead with something. And, if it's our time, it'll work out. If not, it is what it is, and we'll do something else.
yeah.
So just, I guess, releasing some of that control has been nice. It's also very hard to do since we're both control freaks and now are creating little control freaks.
Oh my gosh.
We have two girls. I don't know if we said that. We have two little girls, a 2 and a 4-year-old.
Yes.
So love of our lives, but I'm surrounded by girls who want to control me.
Hormonal, emotional women.
It's okay. It makes me a stronger man. Builds me up. Tears me down too. I couldn't
Luckily, you've always been a sensitive. Lucky for them, I chose a good dad for them.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Because you've been able to handle me all this time.
Yeah.
It's like so sweet and caring and sensitive.
Thanks.
Like open to all the emotions that I have and handling me.
Thanks.
Through them.
Oh, I love you and the girls so much.
Oh, thanks, honey. So basically, if everybody's trying to do more, what if everybody strove to do less, though? Like, what if you made your New Year's resolution to take something out of your life?
That's an interesting point.
Nobody wants to set their big New Year's resolution or goals. Nobody wants to set that as kind of like taking a step backwards. Nobody wants to think this year, I'm not going to move the needle forward at all, right? Like we think this is the year that our business is going to grow. I'm going to take off on TikTok. I'm going to, do all these things. But one of the things I was thinking about is like moving forward in the wrong direction is hurting you, not helping you. So what if you took a year to just take things out of your life, or at least just take the time to actually evaluate your life, what's in your life, who's in your life. Why do you believe the things you believe? Like, that's a huge thing that people
It
need
is.
to do in this world. It's like, just pause for 2 freaking seconds and ask yourself, why do you believe that? Do you even know? You know, I mean, we have done that a ton, questioning our beliefs. And it doesn't mean that you have to change your belief, but if you question yourself and you dig into it and you further understand, then if you are going to stick with your belief, then now you're so much stronger in it and you have something to back it up, and you know you can stand firm in whatever your stance is, because you've done your research and found things out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what, yeah, you get more confident in yourself and build on that once you are able to do that. Like, assess yourself
Yeah.
and question and what's the root of everything. And that makes you stronger to, like, when to have conversations with people too. I feel like that's something we're trying to, Katie's certainly a lot better than me at, just from her social media experience and just who you are. You're a little more extroverted than I am. I'm a big introvert, but always want to stand up to folks or like say our opinion. I think over the holidays, some good Christmas dinners. We had some good chats on
Some nice pro-life
some pro-life
conversations.
conversations and stuff, which was fantastic to see. And like, I even felt pretty well armed through the things that you had taught me and we dug into, but like, want to be able to have those convictions about, you know, everything that we stand for. And like, I feel like we do, but there's ways to be better. And certainly in the faith perspective, like, we love the whole idea of like apologetics and all of that and what that looks like. So, but yeah, being able to defend your point, but at first you got to like just break down, like, why do you believe the things that you do? And like, when people are trying to convince you to do stuff, like, why do they think?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, that is the best way because a lot of topics, literally every topic in America right now is a hot topic. You know, there's nothing that's not political. Like, everybody is going to die on every hill, you know.
Yep.
So it always turns emotional, which means nothing's going anywhere. So you have to like stay super grounded. You cannot get emotional if you actually want to try to change people's minds on things. So I feel like that is a really good thing to throw out there if you're talking to someone and they're bringing up all these points. Like, well, why do you believe that? They don't know. They never know.
They never know.
Especially if you're talking about pro-life.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the pro-abortion arguments are just people are brainwashed. I mean, and I don't mean that in a hateful way. Like, we are all brainwashed. I mean, we're literally talking about
100%
CIA developed brainwashing that has trickled down into the media that's on your TV. So if you don't think you're brainwashed, you are. I mean, we all are to a certain extent.
Yeah, it's very Matrixy.
Like, yeah, literally watch The Matrix. Like, they make movies.
Yes, predictive programming, right? Is what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so true.
They tell us everything. Like, you know how you'll see stuff like after or before it happens, it'll be on literally like The Simpsons or something. And then later people will go back and say, look at this Simpsons episode. Like, did they predict the future? Yeah, because they're creating the future. And when we say they, it's like the powers that be, you know?
Yeah.
And so they always say what they're going to do next, you know, or what is ultimately out there. So, I mean, I'm not saying we're like going to wake up in slimy pods or anything at any point, but we might.
Well, you just saw an article about that. They are growing babies in chambers with slimy pods.
Yeah.
Like, it literally is what was in the Matrix.
Well, that's true. That's very scary. They actually are trying to, they want to kill the real babies, like the babies in the real wombs, but they want to grow more babies artificially so that they can literally brainwash you before you're born.
Yep.
With chips. Thanks, Elon. For all you Republicans out there who love Elon Musk, I hate to break it to you. He's one of them. Literally, he's in the World Economic Forum.
Ouch. Yeah, but it's crazy. A lot going on out there.
So anyways.
Time to wake up.
Set your New Year's resolution.
Do less. Less is more.
Yeah. Break free from the Matrix.
The other one to watch, that's what I was going to say. The other one to watch is Ready Player One. That is becoming more and more true.
See, I need to watch that one.
Like, it is just
is that like meta, basically?
Yeah.
Metaverse?
Everybody's living like in the metaverse, and like they get money through metaverse, and like they can be whatever they want in the metaverse. And like literally on Disney Plus today, like all the ads are from Meta, and like, I want to do Iron Man, whatever. And then it's like them putting on their Oculus or their whatever it is, and they're like doing it. Or they want to go to a coffee shop and play with it, and it's like they put on their thing, and like there they are. So, and now with Chat GPT and like the AI, like all of these things are becoming 100% true. So, yeah, Matrix, Ready Player One,
and then
WALL-E, I guess. That's
what I was gonna say. WALL-E. That's what I was gonna say. And in WALL-E, they kind of show it in a different way than I think what it will be.
Yeah.
You know, they show like they're just sitting in these chairs in space watching a TV, but it'll be more like an Oculus type thing.
Yeah.
Where you're like,
you haven't seen Ready Player One? We gotta watch that.
Yeah, you gotta show me that one.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Scary.
Times. It's scary. Yeah.
But after you do all this research, then go read Revelation.
Yes.
In your Bible, the book of Revelation. And yeah, put on the armor of God. Put on the full armor of God and get right with Jesus, folks.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's the other thing too, is we got to cut through all the bull crap with everything, and like conservatives and just others like not speaking up. Like there is truth. Like we were just talking about this the other day. Like everyone wants their truth and live your truth and the truth, and like, but there is the truth. Like there is the truth.
Jesus.
And like Jesus is the truth. And like we have to start speaking up and like not be afraid of our points.
I literally was about to go on a rant on Instagram the other night, and I just didn't have it in me, so I didn't do it. But just exactly about that. Like Christians, I saw multiple Christians essentially apologizing for their beliefs. You know, they're trying to say something about their faith, but then in the same story slide, something about like, oh, but you don't have to think this way, or, you know, this is just my belief that I'm sharing. What? Do you see other religions doing that? No, nobody else is putting something out there about their faith and then immediately apologizing for it. Jesus does not need to be apologized for.
Yep.
Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light.
Yep.
That's it. No apologies.
Yep. And love, like everybody talks about love, and like you got to understand what love is. Like, you know, we talk about tough love and things like, but if you really love people, then you need to lead them to Jesus Christ. Like that's the other thing too. And it's even in my head now, or like times when we talk about Jesus to others or whatever, it's still like the social norm, or I don't know, there's this like pressure, like, oh, these Jesus freaks or whatever. And it's like, no, this is actually like the truth. Like this is the way we should be and want to help others get there too. Like we care enough about you to not just, oh, I love whatever your truth is, man. No, I love you enough to I want to bring you to the light, like show you who Jesus is. Like it's not just like lovey teddy bear love.
Yeah. The thing that really has spoken to me, that has made me feel like, yeah, I need to just tell people the truth is, you know, someday we will all stand at the foot of the throne and have to answer for the things we've done in our lives. And what if there's, you know, the line of people who are not heading to heaven over there, and they're saying, why didn't you tell us?
Yeah, that was from church this past weekend.
Yeah, and I had heard like a similar sort of story prior to that too. But it's just like, yeah, if we really believe what we believe, that salvation comes through Jesus Christ, faith in Jesus Christ, why wouldn't we tell people? Why wouldn't we tell people?
Yeah. Saving souls.
Yeah.
This is we threw a lot at you so far, but this is what it's going to be. We're going to dive more into these topics, and like,
yeah, we're going to each time start out with a topic, and then, you know, may not stay on that topic.
But we just want, you know, we want to be here for you all and have you learn something, but also just build that community. And we're constantly learning and waking up to new things, and we just want to do it and get it out there. And we're just done with all the stuff. Like we want to help others and have others help us, and we're all in this together. And we want to ultimately, serve God and Jesus, and we're trying to find a way to do that.
Okay, so I think that is probably enough rabbit holes for episode 1. So thank you guys so much for listening, and all 5 of you guys out there. Hopefully that number grows, but if it doesn't, then
we'll have a good conversation with you guys.
Yeah, these are the type of conversations that we have anyways. So now we're just sharing it with others. So thanks for watching and or listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
See ya.